Show me.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of I Welcome You to Kung Fu, the series where I have a guest who is not super into the Kung Fu genre as I am and have them pick whatever movie sparks their curiosity, and I try to find a movie that I think complements it in some way. Today we have an amazing guest, a guest who currently sits at around 37,000 followers on TikTok and can't help but post at least 3 viral videos a week. He is another third of the amazing movie podcast Goodwill Podcasting. Of the trio, you know, if they were the New Day from WWE, I think he's Xavier Woods, and if they were the NWO, he's probably Kevin Nash, which, as bad as that sounds, I think that makes Dan Hulk Hogan, but I think that also makes me Dennis Rodman. So, you know, let's make of that whatever we will. I guess I'm going to start coloring my hair, and I'm probably going to visit North Korea a lot more often. Stone, I welcome you to Kung Fu.
Wu-Tang martial expert. There's not many who can match up with him.
Thank you for welcoming me. I'm very excited for my co-host Dan to listen to that intro and have you or have him hear you compare him to Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I think he's not going to like that very much. But you know what? Of the three, I guess that makes him Hulk Hogan.
That's very funny. That was a great way of opening up this episode.
Before we jump into the movies, what you got going on the TikTok and the podcast, on the Goodwill Podcasting?
Goodwill Podcasting, we just discussed Highest to Lowest, Spike Lee's new directed film starring Denzel Washington. And to follow that up tomorrow, we're going to release an episode talking about their 2 of their collaborations, which is Mo Better Blues and Inside Man. They've actually already done, I say they because I actually wasn't on the episode, but we've actually already done an episode on Spike Lee before where we discussed the other films that starred Denzel Washington. So we're trying to keep that theme kind of going. So we're discussing the other ones. But that's what we got going on at Goodwill Podcasting. I just told you. So what we like to do on the podcast is we do like to talk about a new release movie every single week, and then also come out with another episode, kind of something thematically similar to it. Like we just talked about the horror movie Weapons, which was marketed very well. So the second episode that week was talking about really well marketed horror films, which was Cloverfield, The Blair Witch Project, Paranormal Activity. Just so happens that they were all found footage movies. So we had a found footage guest on, big junkie into found footage. So that's what's going on in Goodwill Podcasting. Next week, if anybody wants to check us out, we're going to be discussing a rom-com, I believe, called Splitsville that is produced by Neon. And then also we're just going to be discussing Alien Earth.
Oh, yes.
We haven't discussed a whole lot of TV shows on the pod, but like I said, there's not a whole lot going on when it comes to movies in August. So that's a very popular television series that's going on right now. And I have some really hot takes about it. If anybody wants to hear what I have to say and yell at me and comment that I am dead, like very wrong. I'm curious to see what Dan thinks about it though, because when I told him that I wasn't too fond of it just yet, he thought that was hilarious and he wanted me to post a video on it. Still haven't done that yet, but yeah, go my own personal page. Thank you, 37,000. Cool. Viral videos. I think it's all because of this right here. I just got this shirt in.
I saw that. I was like, always wearing a Huntrick shirt,
dude. I just got it in as I was coming. Because I was a little bit late to recording this. As I was coming home, I was like, my package is here. I'll get it real quick and I'll put it on and it fits well. But I have a problem. So you watched this movie, right? K-pop Demon Hunters?
Yes, and I have the soundtrack on my phone.
Dude, it's good. I like it. I have a problem though. Well, my viral videos a lot of times is because I have built a K-pop Demon Hunters fan base, which I'm proud of, and I think that I give them good content. They give me good feedback and everything like that. Big thing though was, as fans of that movie know, is that it's actually coming to theaters. And I believe I saw someone like record in a theater that Netflix was playing the trailer, like telling people?
I didn't see that, but went to see Nobody 2 yesterday, and there is a poster in the theater as it is right next to the Neja 2 poster.
Dude, that's wild. I hope they hand those
And
out
it
when
does say but does say on the poster sing along event.
right. I hope they hand out posters. That'd be sick. As you can see over here, my shoulder, I got like a poster wall, so that'd be cool. But my wife works, and I've texted people, and I don't have anybody to go with. So you don't live in Orlando, right?
Nope.
I don't think you
And I
did.
don't plan on going to a sing along showing.
Yeah, that I think it'll be interesting for content. I'm going to a film festival in September, so for a couple days. So I would really like to get used to doing like vlog
Yeah.
posting and like like voiceover, but like, look, this is a movie that I went and seen. I've never done that before, so I thought it'd be interesting to go to the sing along event and try to do something like that. But I'm a grown man, and I love the movie, but I know that its fan base is probably mostly female and mostly younger people. So I'm cool and I'm chill, but I feel a little bit awkward that I'm going to be there.
My
Just
my
sitting in the
one piece
center.
of advice I think to feel less awkward is go confidently, but don't wear the shirt.
Really,
I think so. I think showing up
I
with the
think you're right.
shirt kind of like fanboyish, I think that would make it look weirder.
You know what? I think you might be right about that. I'll ask my
I
wife, but
think so.
yeah, I got this for the film festival though because I think it'd be sick if it's a mostly a horror film festival. It's Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas. I got this because I think it'd be really funny to wear this shirt to like horror movies.
I think that's good. But
Okay, that's better than the sing
going
along.
to the sing along, maybe don't wear
Interesting.
the shirt.
All right, all right. I'm glad we've came to this conclusion. I feel a little bit better. I think that's a
That
good
makes
call.
so like I mean as the wrestling fan, like when I see like grown men wearing like an Alexa Bliss shirt, I'm like, calm down.
Interesting.
Like that shirt's great. I'd wear that shirt.
Appreciate it, but not at the sing along event.
Not the sing along event. No, I'd wear it at home.
Yeah, I wear it on this podcast. There we go. This is the
Hell
first
yeah.
time I've worn it.
Well, let's jump in with a few questions leading up to the movies. First question for you: what is your experience or history with martial arts and kung fu cinema?
Oh boy, oh boy. Very little. I've watched the Matrix movies. I pitched the idea of maybe talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender with you, which would have
Yeah.
been a little bit difficult since I believe you said you hadn't seen it in a long time. And it's a whole, like, obviously it's a lot easier to talk about movies than it is an entire season of television or a series. So that was kind of foolish.
I
But
tried. I tried to still correlate it to that because
okay.
for people watching, he did initially pitch Avatar: The Last Airbender, not the movie, the actual show.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not sure about that, but what if we do two movies that feature styles that are heavily used in Avatar: The Last Airbender? So I tried to still sort of incorporate it in some way.
And I'm excited to hear exactly how that was when it comes to these movies. But I mean, dude, Kung Fu Panda, sure.
Yeah,
I'm a
Dan
big
brought that up as
animation
well.
guy. What was that?
Dan brought up Kung Fu Panda as well.
Yeah, Dan loves Kung Fu Panda, loves it to death. He even like the fourth one. I'm like, come on now, dude.
So you bring up like The Matrix, maybe like a Kill Bill, Kickboxer, Bloodsport, anything like that?
None of that. We did watch. What did I watch? There was a movie starring Jason Statham that we just covered randomly on the podcast. I believe it also had Jet Li in it.
Was it War?
No, it wasn't War.
Oh, it was the one. You guys talked the one,
Yes, we did talk about the one, which was an
Yes.
interesting movie.
which is a movie that also features a style used in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Look at that. Look how it all comes around.
And heck, you even saying you've seen The Matrix, of course. You've seen all the Matrix movies for the podcast, I'm sure.
Yes.
We will just be talking about a movie that does also correlate to The Matrix as well.
Beautiful.
Based on any of your experience so far with anything close to the kung fu genre, do you have any preconceived notions about the genre?
I did, and now they're gone.
Why is that? Why are they gone?
These two movies that we're talking about today, I believe they're both from China and
Hong Kong, yeah, pretty much.
Hong Kong. And I think that because I'm not familiar with this genre of movies, I think it's with like any genre, you kind of feel like they're all the same. I mean, if you watch an action movie, you're like, oh, all these action movies are the same. Watch a horror movie, all horror movies are the same. But then you watch two good ones, which spoiler, I liked these movies.
Yeah.
And it's wildly different stories. One's more fantastical, one's more practical, set in the real world, and it makes me super excited to watch more, I will say. So that was my preconceived notions about the genre, is that how different can you get, even with the fighting styles are, as you will discuss in way more detail than I will, are very different in this movie. And I tried, you asked me to try to pay attention to that, and I think I got some good answers that I'll give to what I thought was
Right.
different in each movie. But yeah.
That's what I hear that a lot from people. If I ever say that I'm into kung fu movies and all that, because the idea of like, oh, they're all the same, I'll typically hear people say like a phrase like chop sake movies or karate movies. I hear karate movies a lot, which I being a nerd cannot help but correct them, because I'm like, no, actually, I don't have very many actual karate movies. I have kung fu movies, I have Muay Thai movies, I have Silat movies. I'm like, I'll start naming like styles. I'm like, if you want to say styles, then I'll name all the styles.
Nice. Karate Kid. I guess
Karate Kid. I
they
have
have that
those.
one.
If I say kung fu movies, what sort of imagery pops into your head?
I guess Karate Kid. I don't know. I
Is
guess
Karate
it's
Kid?
the
You
I
see
guess it's like the most,
crane stance.
yeah, it's the most Americanized version, I think, of a style of martial arts
Yeah,
that
it's
we
the orange
have.
chicken.
Yeah. And then also you said what is my familiarity with martial arts movies? That we also covered those as well. The pocket
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually only
I was there.
watched you guys go check it out. I totally forgot. Which makes sense. You're the perfect guest. But yeah, I don't know if you remember this, but I only watched the original, the Jaden Smith. I didn't even go into 2 and 3. I know we didn't discuss this on the pod, but I've never seen 2 and 3.
Yeah, yeah.
But what do you? I can't remember. What do you think about those movies in general when it comes to knowing how much you do?
I am not the biggest fan in the world. I'm not a big fan of their execution. I think the philosophy and everything like that is there, but I don't enjoy watching the tournaments, the fights. Some of the training is good. I like the training, but as soon as they actually start fighting, like I'm so happy Cobra Kai is more fast paced and like off and like balls to the wall. Because if all the fights in Cobra Kai were like the fights in the Karate Kid franchise, I would not have watched that whole series.
So, is there a reason for that? Is like the person behind it actually a lot more experienced when it comes to martial arts?
I mean, there's experience. I don't think that what's his face, Ralph Macchio, is the most convincing. And then it's just slow and choppy, and you can tell that most of the people doing it on screen don't really know what they're doing.
And that's different in Cobra Kai. Like they actually
Yeah,
hired
Cobra Kai,
people.
they like. I mean, they hired people who probably didn't know martial arts at the time, but you can tell from like the early seasons to the later season, it's like, oh, these kids put in work.
Right, 6 seasons so far. Or like it
Yeah,
just ended,
it's
right?
over. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out. I heard it's a really great show.
I love it very much. But let's get into something else I love, and that is our first film. Let's jump into the 1981 film directed by Lau Ka Lung, Martial Club.
Abbott, I want you to shave my head. If you refuse to help, I swear I'll burn this temple down.
It is a Shaw Brothers film directed by Lau Ka Lung, written by Ni Kwang, and starring Gordon Liu, Kara Hui, and Wang Lung Wei, as well as just half a dozen legends of Shaw Brothers Kung Fu cinema. 1981's Martial Club is about two friendly rivals and their martial arts schools being pitted against another school of cheats and gangsters, culminating in an epic showdown between Gordon Liu's Wang Fei Hung and a northerner there to test his merit, played by the excellent Wang Lung Wei. Stone, how'd you feel about Martial Club?
I thought it was cool. I really enjoyed it. I thought it's one thing that pops out to me right away is I'm looking at the poster right now. Maybe if I looked at the poster beforehand, this would have occurred to me sooner. But I think it kind of does a bait and switch when it comes to who you think the main character of the movie is going to be, the main star. I think originally, I'm going to butcher these names. You think it's, he gets his leg broken. I will say that.
Yeah. He's the guy who, at the beginning of the movie, he is atop the lion and he's like the head of the lion, and
Yes.
he's in like the first kind of fight scene.
Exactly. So you would
gets
assume that
knocked
he's the star of the movie, but then it slowly turns into his best friend leads it, and as well as his sister as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched. I don't want to spoil, I guess, the other movie if we're keeping it under wraps. But I watched our other movie first, which is more fantastical. I feel like, and it takes some liberties with the realism when it comes to that film. But this one, I like that it felt practical and it makes sense. Like, I feel like stuff like this might probably happened back, not even like nowadays, like different dojos and stuff like that. I don't know if the terminology there is correct.
Today it's called dojo storming.
Dojo storming. So
if
that
you
is
go
when
to another school and be like, I want to fight somebody.
that is very interesting. But yeah, it's also, I think it provides so many extras in this movie who obviously all know the craft very well, and it allows the fight scenes to really work. I think in our other film, there's a whole lot of extras that are used as well, but I don't think as many when it comes to the actual fighting.
Yeah,
and I
they're
really
not
enjoy
like
that.
singled out and like don't all each get like a handful of moves to get in.
Exactly. I love the character that comes from the northern part of China down to the area. I think he adds a lot of interesting character development for everyone and what he really cares about when it comes to kung fu. But then also, I like the difference. I don't want to get into what I think about it just yet, but the difference in the martial arts between this movie and our other film. I think there's a lot more purpose and a lot of aggression behind this movie, and it gets pretty intense towards the end. Like, people are trying to kill each other. Wasn't really expecting that. And yeah, I thought the ending is incredible, where it's basically two experts at martial arts really showing each other that they know shit. Like, how good are you really? Let me show you real quick. And the environment that they're in, I just thought it culminated into a pretty great climax, I will say, at the very end of this movie.
So the guy who ends up being the main character is played by Gordon Liu, and seeing as you said you have seen Kill Bill, right?
Yes.
Did you recognize Gordon Liu when you saw him?
Probably not. I mean, what is that? 20? When did Kill Bill come out? Is that 20-year difference almost?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. No, I did
so,
not.
Do you remember like the Crazy 88 fight?
Yes.
He's like the final guy in the Crazy 88 with the mask on, and then in the second movie, he is the white-haired master Pai Mei teaching her.
So he's in both films. Okay.
Yeah. 2 different characters.
Got you.
That is the legend that is Gordon Liu. The director of this is also just like one of the most highly regarded directors in all of kung fu cinema, Lau Kar-leung. Just pretty much one of my top 3 favorite directors. What were any expectations you may have had going into a 1981 Shaw Brothers film?
I didn't know. Especially at the beginning, because I think that this movie is really rooted in the tradition of kung fu. You get that right at the beginning too, because it doesn't even necessarily start in the real world.
Yeah.
It gives you information.
On the stage. Yeah,
it gives you a stage presentation of the rules of kung fu and what you're supposed to do
of the lion dance.
Yeah, the lion dance was really cool, and they take so much time with that opening, and it's so impressive. I just want to say that off the bat. What was my mindset going into this? I didn't have one. I didn't know what to expect. But the physicality that is on display within the first 10 minutes of this movie is astonishing, because it's obvious that these are all actual professionals when it comes to this, when it comes to kung fu. But they're the lion dance. It's not a dragon. I want to say dragon, but the lion dance. This 3-story towering group of people doing all of this is really impressive. And I couldn't help. And then there's beautiful shots of like looking down on them. Like, even though it feels so real, you can tell it's a film at the exact same time, which I thought was very impactful.
Yeah. And the guy at the beginning who's giving that like presentation and like the rules of lion dancing, that's the director, Lau Kar-leung.
Oh, that's cool.
So you said you enjoyed like the style of this movie. What did you think about? What were you feeling about the action style going into this? And this is very much like a Lau Kar-leung style action film. Like, you're not going to see a whole lot of you can go into the different areas of kung fu cinema, and they're not going to be exactly like this. This is very much a Lau Kar Lung movie.
So what did I think after I watched the entire thing?
Just like what were your feelings on like his style that you saw?
It's very, I mean, I used this word before, but it feels very practical. It feels like he is showing off like what real kung fu looks like. When it comes to our other film, there's a lot of props that are used when it comes to the fighting and everything. A lot of parts of the body that are a little bit shocking, but
We
here
get a lot of like spears and staffs in this.
yes, which I think that's also part of. I'm assuming that's a like not a class of kung fu that you get used to fighting with the stick. I would assume. I don't know if you knew this. I did martial arts. Did I tell you that on our podcast episode?
I don't think so.
Are you sure? Because I dressed up in my dobuck before.
I think I was not there for this.
Okay, which is crazy because I feel like your episode would have been the only episode that I did that. So I can't remember which episode I did that for. But I did Kuk Soo Won, which is a South Korean defense martial arts. So I stopped when I was like 12 or 13. So that's about as much as I know. I don't know why that's not a flex. I just wanted you to know that. But I will say when it comes to, it's not necessarily his film. It's just when it comes to kung fu in general, it feels like everyone is always on the attack because they're always out to try to get each other in this movie. Even if there are good, obviously good characters and bad characters, and even morally gray characters, but there's always people backstabbing each other. So there's like, we're gonna fight you because you picked on one of our own, and it happens over and over again in this movie. So when it comes to Kuk Soo Won and our other film, I think a lot of the martial arts is used for self-defense and not for aggression. But here, it's more for fighting, which I think lends to the entertainment of the movie.
Yeah. Well, we get the two friends, Gordon Liu and the other guy whose name I can't remember. They are cocky. They're trying to like one up one another because they're from different schools, different philosophies of kung fu, sort of. And so they are both these cocky children who think they're better than the other. So like they're paying other people to lose fights to them and like lose to them in 4 or 5 moves. And then like they do, you say a lot of it seems like their style is like used for fighting. The 3 ranks I guess that I saw in this was they're like if your sash is to the left, then you're a student. If your sash is to the right, then you're a fighter. If your sash is to the middle, then you're a master. And so they go and they do their fighting and they move it to the right, and then one of them gets cocky and is like, no, I'm gonna put it in the middle. And then they get confronted by an actual master and they get their asses kicked.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That was a good scene.
Yeah.
And it's a good way of showing you the characters and how quippy they are and how they are trying to one up each other, but then also being informative at the exact same time to the audience.
Yeah. No, and I thought like that scene, a lot of this movie, when it's not in the darker moments, is actually very, very funny. And I feel like when people think of the action comedy, the kung fu comedy, they think of Jackie Chan. But I think this movie is hilarious.
Is this your favorite movie by this director?
No.
Okay.
It is probably number 2 or 3.
Interesting. I was looking at his filmography. What is your number 1?
Number 1 is the 8-Diagram Pole Fighter, which is not at all a comedy. And then number 2 is Heroes of the East.
Heroes of the East. Yeah, he's made a lot of films, I will say. And it looks like they do all star Gordon Liu, or most of them do.
Most of them do. Gordon Liu was like... He was like his student, his protege, but kind of like he was like a little brother pretty much. So like once they like had their whole bond and connection and everything, he was just like, that's my guy. You know, he's the DiCaprio and Scorsese or De Niro and Scorsese, you know, like those guys, they were the partnership.
That's cool. I will say, yeah, now that I'm looking at an older picture of him, I remember him in Kill Bill. I mean, he looks good still. He looks the exact same, but yeah, I remember him now.
Now, the 8-Diagram Pole Fighter, much darker movie, and then Heroes of the East it's pretty goofy. The Heroes of the East is about like Gordon Liu marries a Japanese woman, and they're constantly fighting with their martial arts, their Japanese martial arts and Chinese martial arts, and she like is so offended by his critique of her martial arts that she like writes home to her family. And her family gets the wrong idea and is like, we're going to come kill him.
Nice.
And then he I guess, earn his way, he then has to fight like every member of her family.
Beautiful.
It's a dope
crazy.
movie.
It's crazy to me because this movie came out in 1981. I'm just looking at his filmography. It's crazy to me that not as many people have watched this film because it looks like his most popular one that most people have watched is the 36 Chamber of Shaolin.
Yeah, 36 Chamber of Shaolin. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's that's a staple. That's icon right
That
there.
was before this, so I'm surprised
Right.
more people haven't checked this one out.
Well, it's just what blew up and what came over to the States. In the 80s, late 70s. You have an influx, and really it's starting in the early 70s. You have an influx of Hong Kong Shaw Brothers films, kung fu films coming over to New York, Chinatown, and like 36th Street, I think. And they really blow up in the West. Like there's like a solid 8 months where like the number one movie of the weekend every month was a Hong Kong kung fu movie. And of course, the reason 36 Chamber of Shaolin is like the biggest one doesn't help. It does help that that's Wu-Tang right there. That's Wu-Tang Clan just made that. I mean, what is that? Their first album was Enter the 36 Chamber. Like that's one reason it's just reached iconic status.
Heavily popularized, yeah.
Yeah, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. So you mentioned the final fight of this. This is regarded as pretty highly regarded. It's usually like very highly ranked, top 10, maybe top 5 sometimes, in a lot of kung fu fans like final fights. So what did you like so much about it?
Well, I think like the same thing we were talking about, or I said when it comes to the belt, and it's very informative. This does seem like it's trying to pump as much kung fu knowledge into the story, into the screen, without being super expository. And the fact that you have these two, I'm gonna say masters, even though they're not technical, or one of them isn't technically a master, these two greats of kung fu who are trying to show each other, or it's mostly just Gordon Liu's character, is proving to this guy that he knows all of these styles and he knows them very effectively well. And it was very cool to me to see the different forms, and because you really hadn't seen that all movie. You had the he called it an eagle. It's not a tiger claw. The 3 fingers. So you see that a little bit from the master in the final fight, but it's also the space. It's
constantly getting smaller.
It's not only claustrophobic, but they actually touch it and it breaks, and it feels more real when that happens. And it feels like your characters aren't invincible, but at the same time they're so laser focused on one another. And I mean, with their physicality as well, like they're doing splits on the wall. I'm like,
they give like a commentary as to how they're going to execute their moves in this small space. Like when they start, it's like 4 feet wide, and Gordon Liu says, "Well, it's about 4 feet wide. I'm going to make sure I'm going to do this. I'm going to utilize this style." And then Wang Lung Wei, the northerner, he has a lot of kicks. And so like Gordon Liu is like, "Oh, like the space is getting smaller. How are you going to be able to do anything?" And so he just starts like kicking like high in the air and like bending around the walls and everything. It's just like, oh, that's what he's just still going to do it. It doesn't matter. He's that good.
I think it's cool because we really hadn't seen anything like that for the entire movie. So it feels like they did save the best for last.
Yeah. I've only seen this movie one other time, and I did like it a lot, but I loved the final fight. There's a reason that is so highly regarded among Kung Fu fans. I, for the longest time, believed this was like a mostly boring nothing happens movie, and then the final fight happens. Rewatching it last night, this movie is wall-to-wall fight scenes. Like, you can't go 10 solid minutes without someone throwing a punch or a kick at somebody.
So they're always pissed off at each other.
Like, they're fighting in restaurants, they're fighting in brothels, they're just going to each other's schools and fighting, they're fighting in the street. Almost every scene in this movie has a fight scene.
They got to separate these schools a little bit further because I feel like they're too close together, and it's very easy for these guys to just be like, yeah, let's go beat them up again.
Yeah, and one of the actresses, Kara Hui, the sister, she she steals every scene she's in. She's that good.
It stands out because she's not just a female, because she is the one female character who's doing martial arts in this movie, really. So whenever she like goes up against a master, like of the other, the classes of not dojos, what do you
just the other school,
school, it really stands out to you, and she's very much able to handle her weight, and it's very believable, especially with not only her physical performance but her acting as well, that she's not afraid to stand up to these guys and stand up for her brother, even though her brother's kind of a moron. He's trying to impress girls at a brothel.
I'll quote the movie as what the movie said. He's too busy. He's too distracted from his training because he's too busy trying to impress whores. Is what the movie said.
Yeah, that did stand out to me. That one word in the subtitles really stood out to me.
Yeah. Where did you watch this movie on?
I bought. Well, originally I was maybe gonna watch it on YouTube because I was talking to Dan, and he's like, some of these are on YouTube, so you don't have to pay for them. So I did find one on YouTube, but I thought the quality was so low. So I'm like, I don't really want that to affect me. That would bother me. So I just purchased it on Apple TV, and then our other movie was on Peacock.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is on Peacock. That is. I just have them on DVD, which is or on Blu-ray, which is great.
That's a flex that you should always flex, to be honest.
That's what this whole collection behind me right here is, just all kung fu and martial arts movies from all around the world.
I said my collection is very. I wish I could show it to you, but I need something like that, like a bookshelf like that. I have something that's on its side. It's like a bookshelf on its side, and you can really only fit, I'm guessing here, maybe 70 movies in there, which is not a whole lot. So I guess I don't necessarily know with my aesthetic back here where I'd stuff more movies, but I'm jealous of how many movies you have. I'm also jealous of your White Ranger thing over there.
That sir is not the White Ranger. That is Lord Draken.
Oh, it definitely looks like a white Power Ranger.
I'll nerd out about Power Rangers for a second. I do have above me the Green Ranger helmet and the White Ranger helmet. Lord Draken is still Tommy. He is the White Ranger. Are you familiar at all with the Power Ranger comic books?
The comic books? No.
Yes.
I watched Power Rangers back in the day. It's been a little bit, but
this is a character who was introduced in the comic books. He is essentially Tommy from a dimension where he pretty much never went good. He ends up killing Rita Repulsa and taking over her army for himself. And he essentially takes over his whole world, and he manages to in killing Jason, the Red Ranger, he combines the Green Ranger power with the White Ranger power, and he becomes Lord Draken. And he spends his days hunting Rangers from across the universes and amassing more power.
Where did you get that?
I don't know, like a GameStop or something. I don't know.
Really? Where did you get the white one? I've honestly been.
I'm pretty sure I got all of them at GameStop.
GameStop. Okay. I've honestly been looking for a White Ranger head because I think it'd be just sick to like put up there rather than a Borderlands popcorn bucket. So good to know.
Yeah, it's up there. I also have a Dragon Dagger. But back to the movie here. You mentioned sort of like a morally gray kind of character. I think you'd probably see that in The Northerner, in Wang Lung Wei. And what I really like about his character in this is Wang Lung Wei, his legacy in Kung Fu cinema is being the bad guy. And when I say the bad guy, I mean an absolute piece of trash, monster bad guy. But I love that in this, he's just kind of a pretty chill dude, and he just happens to have some really bad friends.
I completely agree. I mean, he's framed in a way that he's going to be set up yet again to be the villain. So I can only imagine people watching this when it debuted and knowing his career and knowing his work, probably it was a big subversion of their expectations when it came to what his character. Like, I completely agree. It seems like, well, first of all, the dude doesn't know what's going on. This girl just like randomly gives him money, and then this other guy just gives him money, and you see that he just he still doesn't understand what he's supposed to do.
People just keep giving me money. Like walking to town, I just want to have some lunch. They just give me money.
And then our two friends attack him, so he's just gonna retaliate, and that's what he does. And he's so strong and powerful and knowledgeable that he just kicks their asses, or kicks one of their asses substantially. But just because you've spent so much time with our main characters, you kind of like don't like that they've gotten hurt, even though they did attack this guy who did not know that he just pushes him on the ground.
Yeah.
What is his name? Yinlin literally just shoves him on the ground. He's like, dude, I'm gonna fuck you up right now. So
I mean, that scene is our main characters who have the whole movie been cocky and kind of buttholes, sort of getting some comeuppance.
Yeah, which now having finished the movie feels good, especially with with Yinlin, who is a moron a lot of times in this movie. But it seems like he is actually coming down to southern China, because he's a northerner, to just learn more about martial arts. And so happens that that the school that he's going to is the rival school with a bunch of not so good people.
You can really see it on his face. It's my favorite moment from him outside of the fights is during the big opera house fight scene. When he gets there, he doesn't even throw a punch at anybody. He doesn't fight anybody. He just kind of sees what's going on, and you see that like the look on his face just reads, "Hey, these guys are dicks."
Yeah, that was so good. That opera house fight is so good as well.
Yeah.
It's so intense with the boarding of the windows, like, and then I don't know if you were going to talk about that later, but then the fact that they're just actually trying to kill them with like knives and swords. I'm like,
yeah, that's the scene where like they say they make it look like the good guys didn't pay for tickets, which I guess if you're just being a criminal, you can just die, I guess. And they're like, oh, we'll frame them for not having purchased tickets. So if anyone dies, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're like, they'll understand. They'll understand that we killed them. They didn't have tickets.
Something this movie, I will say, I'll connect it to a random movie like Rocky. Rocky doesn't win, and also at the end of our final fight scene here, Gordon Liu doesn't win. What did you think about our hero sort of losing the final fight?
That's also, I mean, I always like subversion of expectations because you expect a movie to go one way. Like I was saying, you think Lin is going to be the main character of this movie, and then it slowly turns into Gordon Liu. I love that. I love not knowing what's going on. So when he didn't win at the very end, it's just, I think that feels more real, but then also it's just more entertaining because the more surprised I get, like there's no reason why he should have won. Like it makes sense kind of why he lost. He's not a master yet, but it's beautifully executed after, their battle with one another. And I love when stuff like that happens. Like something about me, which is a little bit like this, but different, is I love when main characters die. Not saying that he died, but that is a huge subversion of expectations. When it comes to like TV series, like one that I'm thinking of right away is like The Walking Dead. Like a lot of main characters die in that series like right away, and I just think it hooks the audience more because you don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, it's a little bit different here, but still, I think it makes the movie more memorable. If you're like, it was it was Marshall Club, 1981. You know how it's going to be. So the guy wins in the end. Oh, well, no, boom. I think that just makes it stand out.
Yeah, and like I love the ending of that fight because it is you can tell for the most part like they're being aggressive, they want to win, they're competing, but at no point in this fight are they trying to hurt. They're not trying to kill each other. And the final move of this movie isn't some big killing blow. It's not some big finale move. It just happens to be one move where the bad guy so clearly has the upper hand, and Gordon Liu, who is playing the legendary Wong Fei-hung in this. He just looks at him and accepts like, you checkmate, you got me.
Yeah, it feels like, I think it elevates Wong's character so much more too, Gordon Liu's character, because like you said, it's like a chess match. So the fact that he's even able to compete and for as long as he did, I think is so satisfying as an audience member watching that, because you know how good this guy is, because even the rival school doesn't want to mess with him. Like they know, I feel like the leader of the rival school, it like bows down to him. He's like, dude, this is like for real dude here from the north. He's coming to train with us. No one make him mad, because he's a bad guy. He's a bad boy.
Well, and comparing it to Rocky, he loses the actual fight, but he wins sort of, I guess, the moral victory, because Wang Lingwei, when he's walking by his father, who, fun note, in the movie Iron Monkey, his father is in that movie played by Donnie Yen. But so when he walks by his dad, the moral victory is that when they're like, oh, what happened? They never say who won. They never say who lost. Wang Lingwei just says, that guy right there, he's the future of your school.
Imagine that. Like that's more satisfying than beating him.
Yeah.
I mean, if he beat him, who knows if he would have said that or not.
Yeah. What do you have any final thoughts or want to say anything about any of the other fight scenes going on in this movie?
The other fight scenes, let me think here. I mean, a lot of them take place within, I would say, the courtyards of the schools. I think there's probably, you know what I want to end with? Something that was really impressive that I don't know is actually like training practices in Kung Fu schools. I love the sequence where they give them the clothes and they give them the bags of rice. And they chuck these long tubes of clothing. I'm sure tubes of clothing is not the correct term for that, but
The strands of the
fabric,
the rolls of fabric.
Rolls of fabric. There you go. And it's such an interesting and nifty way to test someone's stance. Have them stand on the piece of fabric, and at the same time, two different people are somewhat pulling it to see if the other one's going to give, and see.
It's him just standing on it. He like wraps his legs around the fabric and pulls it in horse.
But it's
stance.
like it's 3 times. He does 3. There's like 3 different things. You think that would get old, but he also practices his stance in a new way with a new color, and it's just a genius idea for. And I keep on repeating this, but another informative, entertaining way of showing you kung fu.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then Wang Lang Wei throwing bags of rice on his shoulders.
I wonder how real that was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they were filled with something not very heavy at all.
No.
Acting. He was acting. I enjoy that every time that Gordon Liu and Wang Lang Wei had any sort of interaction whatsoever, it could have been 2 or 3 moves, but every time they did, Wang Lang Wei would kind of look at him like, this kid's pretty good. Like everything even leading up to the final fight, every time they have any interaction, Wang Lang Wei is like, this kid's all right.
I wonder how old he was in this, Gordon Liu. And like, if people just knew, like, did the director know that this guy was his prodigy? Like,
I mean,
already?
Yeah, this was already like 6 years, 7 years into their partnership.
Okay, so because he was in 36 Chamber, and that was 3 years before
Chamber,
this.
Yeah, like 8 Dagger and Pole Fighter is 1978.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're already well into their whole partnership there. And Shaw Brothers is a system where, like, if you work for Shaw Brothers, unless you come in a big star, like, you kind of work your way up from, working probably behind the scenes. You're a stunt man, you get a small role, you're a leading role, you're a director. So, like, you can go back and watch, like, other random movies, or even, I think Lau Kar Leung directed Shaolin Mantis, which stars David Chang, but, like, randomly you'll see, like, one of the henchmen that he's fighting is Gordon Liu.
That's sweet.
So before he was, like, before he was the main guy, he was just henchman.
That's really cool. That makes me think of a completely off topic, but something very similar that I don't know if your audience would like or not, but it's the fact that in the new Fantastic Four movie, Ralph Ineson plays the huge villain. And it's interesting because in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, you can see him and he's just like a background character. Mm-hmm. And it's cool to see how much that actor's career has elevated and in the exact same type of movie. It's really cool to see like that.
That's all over, I guess, the film industry, because I look at like my favorite actor is Scott Adkins. He was in John Wick Chapter 4.
Yeah.
I can go back and watch. First of all, if you watch like Doctor Strange, which is crazy because by the time you watch Doctor Strange, Scott Adkins has already been like the lead in a dozen low budget movies, and he is already considered one of the greatest action stars of the modern era. And he's playing a small no-line henchman in Doctor Strange. But if you go back to like 2003 and watch Jackie Chan's The Medallion, like there's a henchman who probably gets the final fight, but he doesn't have any lines against Jackie Chan. And as a kid, I would watch that movie and I didn't know who that guy was. But now I go and I watch back to that movie and I'm like, oh, that's Scott Adkins.
I was like, it seems like he appears in Ip Man 4. And
he is the bad guy in Ip Man 4, yes.
Is he like the main antagonist?
He is the main villain in that movie.
Okay, I was gonna say, is he? Because that's 2019. I'm looking at it here, so I'm like, by this time he had to have been a way bigger role.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is sweet.
I don't think he's never been like the lead in like a Chinese film, but he's been the villain once or twice. He was the villain in Wolf Warrior, which I don't recommend, and then he's the villain in John Wick Chapter or Ip Man 4.
And John Wick, dude, he's awesome in John Wick. I'm sure he had so much fun with that.
Oh yeah, no, he likes doing, as much as he is the martial arts guy, he loves getting to be a character.
Yeah.
And so when he said when Chad Stahelski called him up, he was like, "Hear me out. I got something weird for you."
I need to rewatch that movie. I watched the first 3. No, we discussed John Wick. You weren't on for that, which you should have been. That would have been awesome too. But I don't know who our guest was.
John Wick episode.
Wait, you've been on our podcast 2 times?
I did the solo Karate Kid Legends review with Dan, and then I was on the Karate Kid episode, and then I was on the John Wick episode.
Okay.
And Ballerina. We also did Ballerina, so I guess 4.
Okay, so if you guys are fans of him, go check out our episodes.
Yeah, just go watch their podcast too.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can wrap it up here on the 1981 film Martial Club and jump into our next film, the 1993 Yuan Wu Ping directed film Tai Chi Master.
My tiger kung fu is better than yours.
Tai Chi Master is a 1993 film directed by Yuan Wu Ping, written by Kwang Kim Yip, and starring Jet Li, Michelle Yeoh, Chin Soo Ho, and Yuan Chung Yan. Tai Chi Master tells the story of two brotherly monks of Shaolin who are cast out for their indiscretions. Chin Bo, a hot-headed and bad influence on Quan Bo. As the two look to go into the world and make something of themselves, Chinbo seeks power and respect, while Quanbo demands no more than a humble life and is okay with putting his life in the hands of fate. What did you think of Tai Chi Master?
Liked it a little bit better than our last movie, I will say.
Really?
Yes.
You kind of gave the impression you liked Martial Club more, just leading into it.
I like both of them. I will say one thing about this movie is I love the story. I think it needs to be I think this movie could have been 3 hours long. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of times where I expected to see a scene. I was like, and then it just seems like either it wasn't filmed or they just left it out. There's a lot of times. At
one point, they jump ahead like maybe 2 years.
Yeah, all of a sudden our monks have hair, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's some time has passed, but there's like characters will be defeated, and then the very next scene they're running to try to save the day. I'm like, I thought they would have been in that state just a little bit longer, but I love the story, and I love the action in this movie. I think it's awesome. I was reading some Letterboxd reviews, and I think the number one thing that stands out to me is the scene where Michelle Yeoh is walking on like stilts and doing martial arts. I'm like, how? I mean,
if you want to see something similar to that, another guy who did a great stilts fight scene was Conan Lee in the film Ninja and the Dragon's Den.
Ninja and the Dragon's Den.
First of all, it's a great movie that also stars a very young Hiroyuki Sanada from like Shogun. But Conan Lee has a fantastic fight scene in that movie on stilts.
Ninja and the Dragon's Den.
Ninja in the Dragon's Den.
Yeah, but this feels like an epic, man.
That's like this. I think. I thought of something. I don't know if I wrote it down. Both of these movies do just feel like completely epic, but yeah, this movie feels like a grand, epic adventure.
Yeah, because like tons of time has passed, and you have best friends that are going to like enemies, and I think this would have been way better if it was 3 hours long. And shoving this into a 90-minute film is wild. And like I said, I think there are scenes that they could have included that I would have really liked. But I also will say this. I do like a lot of my love for this movie is the action. It's doing a lot of the carrying as well as the story as well. I don't like the comedy in this movie. I think it should have been
some of it was good.
I think it should have been a little bit serious. There is like a huge comedic point, and it's kind of like 85% into the movie where our main character is in shock. And I'm like,
sort of had some sort of psychotic break.
Instead of silliness there, I would have rather have had a lot of depression. I know it's pretty dark, but I think the story is dark. Just like our last movie we talked about. I mean, there's off screen, but there's like children that get murdered in this, and it really elevates into the ending perfectly. And I think this was really great. I have this at a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I really enjoyed it a lot.
This one really announces itself and how epic it's going to be in its action when our two monks are kicked out of the monastery, and like they have to fight all of the other monks with the staffs. And that scene is freaking amazing.
That was wild. I didn't realize that the story was going to depart from the monastery or where the monks are. So it's crazy that that was like the first action scene that they opened up with.
That's like the first big fight scene, and it's rad. It's so good.
Which is it's very crazy. And then what I really like when it comes to my personal action movies, which Martial Club left out of, because like I said, I think they were trying to be a little bit more practical and everything, is I do like it when they use props for their fighting. And we get that right at the beginning in the temple with there's lanterns above hand and they're like hitting it out of the sky to make it slippery for the attackers who are coming onto them. But yeah, there's so many sticks going everywhere. And I'm just going to say this outright. I was going to say this for a little bit later, but when it comes to Tai Chi, now, is everyone doing Tai Chi in this movie? I'm assuming.
No, the Tai Chi does not come in until really the final fight.
So what type of martial arts are they doing, I guess, throughout the movie?
So it's really just sort of a Shaolin. Like I couldn't tell if it didn't seem very northern Shaolin, possibly I guess more southern. But it did seem very Hung Gar, which is very similar to the style we actually get in Martial Club. Which the correlation there, the reason I had mentioned these two movies and said they're two movies that use styles from Avatar: The Last Airbender, is Hung Gar really being the main style of Martial Club, is the style of the Earthbenders,
And this one's one of the firebenders.
and then Tai Chi. So it's very, I think it's very similar to what the firebenders do, but the Tai Chi itself, the Tai Chi is water.
Okay, because it seems like to me what they're doing, because you have really good examples of their style of martial arts in these two movies, because you do have sequences in both films where you have a group of people lined up and they're all doing the exact same forms at the exact same time. So I was paying attention to how like aggressive they are with their movements, and it really seems like in Martial Club it is more stern and it is more like strike here, strike there. But when it comes to this movie, it's more like fluidity.
Yeah, that's the Tai Chi part of it.
Yeah, and it's using. Well, I guess that makes sense because at the very end of this, he's a Tai Chi Master. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But and that's the image that's popping into my head, is the fact of using basically your opponent's force against them. And I still got that at the staff battle. Technically, they are using the staffs that their opponents are throwing against them. So even if he's not a master till the very end, I still saw little bits and pieces of what like Tai Chi is. But yeah, waterbending, obviously. I don't know why I said firebending. Do you know what firebending is?
Firebending is Northern Shaolin Kung Fu. That's why I said I might see a little bit of it there. I couldn't really. It didn't look completely like a northern style of Shaolin Kung Fu. So I'm not. I meant to look up exactly what they're doing before that. But seeing as, it just based on some of the stances and everything they were doing, it seemed very Hung Gar, which is what we get in Martial Club.
Gotcha.
But firebending is Northern Shaolin.
Cool.
And then really earthbending, I want to say Toph, because she does use a completely different style all her own because she's blind. I want to say she uses Mantis. I think she's Mantis style.
Use them feet. I don't know if Mantises use feet, but she uses them feet.
She does a lot of grabbing, and so Mantis is very much a grappling art kinda, and so she does quite a bit of that.
I love that series, man. I don't know. Do you follow Brandon Talks movies?
I've been watching every single one.
I have to. Dude, he's got all of his. I mean, they're really thought out videos. They're really good deep dives in every single episode. If anybody's interested in checking out our mutual Brandon, but he's watching it for the first time, and I'm very jealous.
He's doing a TikTok for every single episode,
which is a dedication. There's a lot of episodes.
So Jet Li is just like a Jackie Chan, someone who did find a lot of international success. What is your experience with Jet Li?
I'm looking at his filmography right now. Maybe nothing, man. Which is crazy that he's.
You got to go from about 2007 to 1999.
Well, we have one. We talked about one. The one.
Yeah.
Funny enough, but.
And of course, Expendables. He's in the Expendables movies.
I have not watched the Expendables.
You're good. You don't have to.
No, there's 4 of them. I have no idea what they're about. I know it's a lot of dudes and it's a lot of action. A lot of older gentlemen as well, usually. It's usually like guys in their 40s, 50s, 60s being like, yeah, we're just going to blow up stuff.
Yeah. Scott Adkins gets a fight scene in the second one.
Oh, there you go. The sequel? The second one?
Yep.
Okay. Maybe I'll check out that one then. But I'm looking at his filmography. Honestly, I know of Jet Li. I don't know if I've watched a whole lot of his films now that I'm looking at it. which is, I mean, his most popular one is the Mulan live act, most popular one, most watched one on Letterboxd, which is what I'm viewing at right now.
Yeah. Which is just Disney. People watched a Disney movie.
Yes, yes, very well said. I did not watch that because I'm a huge fan of the original, and I heard stuff about that movie, and I did not like what I heard, so I never actually watched it. I've heard of Hero as well, and I've not seen Hero.
Hero is brilliant. Here, you know what Hero is, and I think I said this to Dan as well. Hero is a perfect movie for 99% of the movie, and then the final 1% is the ending, kind of. Not just the very ending. The very ending's not bad, but like then it has like a bunch of like credits and captions at the end, where it's like, oh, this was a propaganda movie.
Nice. Well,
But everything up until all that is like, fuck, this was good. And then it's like, China's great. It's like, we know, calm down, go away.
how did you find that out? Did you like do research, or you were just watching?
It's
the
just
credits?
you can tell. I mean, the movie itself is about the king who unified China and the assassins who plan to take him down. So up to, that's a cool story. So up until then, it's like, this was a really cool movie, cool story. And then just in the end credits, there's like a bunch of captions that just talk about how great China is. And it's like, yeah, okay, calm down.
Did you watch a Jet Li movie with Dan? Did you guys cover one?
No, we did a Donnie Yen movie and a Yuan Biao film from 1981 as well.
Okay, I was curious how Hero got brought up.
I don't remember exactly how it got brought up, but it did.
I guess it's a good movie for 99% of it.
It's great.
That's
I love
why.
it very, 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 very much. And then the end happens. So the thing I said correlates back to The Matrix. The thing that made The Matrix so good is the fight choreographer and action director. Pretty much the fight choreographer, when they offered him to make the movie, I believe his terms were, I will not just choreograph your movie, I have to direct every action sequence.
He said
And
that to
that
the
man-
Wachowskis.
Yep, and that man is Yuan Wu-Ping, who directed this movie.
That is a cool bit of information, I will say. And one thing that sticks out to me that's vastly different than the two movies that we're talking about is this one, absolutely incredible wire work. Everyone is slipping and sliding and soaring and falling, and it's so smooth, and it's really awesome to watch everyone fly around. And I see the Matrix in a lot of this movie. So
Yeah.
that is a cool bit of information that I will probably remember forever. So thank you.
And something that it's the one downside of getting beautiful 4Ks of old school kung fu movies is I have this movie on 4K right here. And there was just a few moments where, because it's so crisp and clean and nice and you can see everything so beautifully,
Oh no.
I saw some wires.
No, you didn't.
Like at one point, Chin Su Ho, Chimbo, he like kicks two people and they go flying off screen, and I was like, I saw the wires that pulled them off screen.
Yeah, that's the bad part of having technology nowadays. You see the flaws.
It's the same thing with wigs and facial wigs. There's a old movie I remember watching. It was another movie directed by Lau Ka Lung, Legendary Weapons of China. Great movie. But at one point you get like a close up of someone's face and they're wearing a fake beard, and it's not only that I could see like how it was. There's like a netting on the bottom side of the beard, and I could see the netting.
I feel like I could see that a couple times in this movie. I will say Martial Club, the sideburns that they got going on in that movie are wild.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of hard to ignore. I think you do see Jet Li's wig. It really stands out sometimes in this film because, I mean, they're bald at the beginning.
Well, I mean, at one point they put on fake hair at least.
Yes.
So, when they first sort of crossed the law, they're like, you need to put disguises on, which I thought was a very funny scene.
Yeah,
And they
that
just
was
like
good.
quickly put on like bad wigs, and they're just like, what's it over there? What's that? What there?
Well, she looked at like the horse's tail to get that idea. So did they like take hair from the horse, or they just
Possibly.
found wigs right there?
That was probably the insinuation.
Okay. I'm glad that horse didn't have a problem with that. Well, I guess it probably wouldn't feel it.
So I know you pointed out like the wire work and all that stuff. What were some key differences, I guess, that you maybe noticed in this as compared to Martial Club?
Yeah, like I was saying, just the style of martial arts is very different. It does feel more fluid. Um, like redirection is something that I saw over and over again, especially towards the end when he does become a Tai Chi master. But like I said, and I've been saying it, I do really like they have more fun with this movie when it comes to the action. Like there's a random sequence where I think it's Jet Li is like upside down hitting people with his head,
That was funny. I laughed at that a lot. Yeah.
which is crazy. And I like that. I like that bit of fun. Like I did say I didn't like a little bit of the comedy, but I like when there's like we're gonna think of the most wild thing we can think of when it comes to our action, as well as being very respectful and accurate at times when it comes to the type of martial arts that we're trying to put on the screen. But I just love there's so many props that they use in this movie for their action, and I'm always just gonna like that. I mean, I just watched Nobody 2. Which did you check that out yet?
I saw it yesterday at 9 a.m.
Did you like it?
I thought it was mostly acceptable. I didn't love the first one, and the only reason I really saw the second one is because the director is my favorite director.
Right. I remember you talking about that and you were really excited for this movie. But I think in that film, he did a great job of putting the characters in environments where they could use their environment for entertainment and action purposes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think this movie also does a great job at that as well. I mean, you have the bar fight. I mean, do you have two bar fights? Anything in the bar is great. I think you do have two bar fights, I think. But that is something I mean, I don't think this will be a question of yours, so I just want to address it. Like the scenes that I think we're missing, all of a sudden, like Jet Li, Michelle Yeoh, and it's like everyone is like a group, and they have like these companions of theirs, and they're like running the bar. I was like, there's a guy who runs the bar. I'm trying to think.
They have like a tea house that they stay in. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the fast forwarding of time, maybe. But the biggest standout to me is when I guess he eventually becomes the antagonist of the film. When, give me a second, let me get his name.
Timbo?
When Timbo, when he decides to betray them, you don't. I guess it's more of a shock value that you don't really realize that he's going to betray them.
He just like shows up and he's like, "You all need to leave now. They're coming to kill you."
Yeah.
And so just that happening, you're like, "Oh, I believe him."
Yeah, which I guess is more impactful. But then the other scene that I think about is when he does betray them, and Junbo goes into they're in like a field area and he starts drinking, and he's like so depressed that his friend has betrayed them, and then all of a sudden it quickly transitions into him rescuing Michelle Yeoh. I was like, whoa. Yeah. I thought we're gonna get a little bit more time with that, but we're just on to the next act. Oh, dude.
Well, he has one moment with what was his name again? The other guy who survives that, and it's Michelle Yeoh, Jet Li, and one other guy. The guy they're with is Yuan Wu-Ping's brother, Cheung Yan. So he has like one moment with Cheung Yan where he says like, "I got to go back and get her." I don't know like if there's like any span of time between that. I mean, it's enough time that Timbo kills the other woman, and he kills her in a pretty brutal way.
Dude, that's wild. Like, I love that. That's so
he just like
good.
Palms her like in the back of the neck, and
I was not expecting that.
And just dies.
Automatic brownie points for me. I was like, dude, didn't think you were just gonna straight up murder a woman. Now that's bad. Just want everyone to know that. But in the movie,
she's like the woman that they like meet. She's like the first woman that they befriend.
Yeah, even before Michelle Yeoh.
She's the first person that they befriend and puts the disguises on them and everything.
Yeah, well, yeah, I completely agree. That's a great point. I do like that because you would expect her to last till the very end of the film, and she doesn't. She lasts for like 70% of it. But with Michelle Yeoh, I thought something that they were going to bring up again that they never do is the fact that her husband left her and is now with the sister of the governor, who does pop up at the very end and helps him fight Michelle Yeoh and Jet Li. But you never get anything else more about the husband. So there's just a little bit more like sequences that I wanted just more conversation, less comedy about, like the fact that Michelle Yeoh turned to alcohol when it came to her husband leaving her, and that's how she consoled herself. And Jet Li was like, "No, you can't do this." And then fast forward, and he's super depressed about Timbo portraying him, and he's going to alcohol. So I thought there could be like some type of conversation there about how he has impacted. Her name's Snow in the movie. how he has impacted Snow's life, but we never get that. It's more so there's a lot of comedy in that. That's like the one sequence of this film. Like, it's funny, but I just wanted a little bit more seriousness. Dan texted me. He saw that I logged this movie, and he said, "Dude, does Michelle Yeoh look as good as I saw in this one clip? Because that's all I know about this movie." And I said, "Yeah, she does. She looks pretty good in this movie."
What clip did he see?
I have no idea, but it's funny that he's like, "Okay, maybe I should check this out."
It's good. And it's on Peacock. I don't know if he has Peacock. I know he canceled like Netflix.
He hates Netflix. I don't think he hates Peacock.
I like Jet Li's performance a lot in this, especially one scene where it's right when I guess Timbo is leaving him to go be a guard, and it's like he's like belittling himself, and like the person in charge or whatever is like, "Oh, you deserve to be beat for that," and he's like, "Okay, I'll be my," and he starts beating himself, and Jet Li just looks at him like, "I'm not on the same page."
Yeah, I like that you get the subtle hints of this character still when they're in like I guess it's the monastery with the monks, and the fact that Timbo has always been there trying to excel and be a master and just try to go up the ranks even when it came to that area. So it makes sense for his character when Junbo is just there to defend people and protect people. I think they did a really good job of transitioning both of their characters into a new setting, into like a new world, and make it very make sense a whole lot for their motivations and everything. Which originally didn't their master originally give the Tai Chi book to Timbo, right? And
he gave it to him because he's like, "You are really impatient and you are really angry person, and I think that this will really help you."
And I think that's amazing because if you really think about it, Timbo at the beginning of this movie where he got that book is probably what Jet Li was at the end of this movie before he read the book. And that's how much his character has changed because of what Timbo has done to him. But
yeah, no, it is interesting to think of like what his character would have become if he did read that book. Maybe not just in terms of personality, but like he sought out power. He sought out respect and ability so hard that if he just would have read that book, like, yeah, maybe he would have. You're
making a great point, dude. I didn't even think about that.
He just would have found all that if he just read that book.
Yeah.
Instead, he had to go kill a bunch of people and end up killing himself in the end, pretty much.
That was great. That was a great point.
Read books, people. Just read the book.
Dude, I don't read books, so
I read audiobooks. I'm too slow of a reader.
I bought one comic book recently and I still have not read it.
I can't turn the camera around, but to the left of me, just right here, I have several boxes of comics, and then many, many comics stacked on top of those boxes. Everything in the boxes I've read. The many, many, many comic books stacked on top I have not read. And it's actually pretty unhealthy.
Well, something I'm very thankful that I'm OCD. I'm very thankful for my OCD because when you see behind me, I will not get stuff if I don't have room for it. So I don't have anywhere to place comic books. I have one comic book. I have a bookshelf in my bedroom, like a floating bookshelf. So there's barely any room on it, and it's already full of like 7 books. So I'm done with books. I have VHS movies back here. I'm done buying VHS because I no longer have any room to place them anywhere. I can buy DVDs still. I still have a little bit of room, but that's something thankfully I'll never have a problem with. Is there's nothing I love so much that I would just get it even though I have nowhere to put it.
Space is not exactly my my issue. Not saying I have a lot of it. I'm running out of space by quite a bit. I will continue to buy a few things, but if I look at something and it's just priced way too high, I'm like, I don't need that. Like there are several Kung Fu box sets of old school Shaw Brothers movies released by Shout Factory. I think they're on probably like the 6th box. I have not bought a single one of them because they're like $160 box sets, and I'm like, I'm not sure if I'll even like the movies. And then people are like, well, just think of the value. It's, it's this many movies for this many dollars. It's like this many dollars a movie, and I'm just like, I don't care.
Black Friday maybe.
They don't come down that much. They go down to like $130. Like I bought the Bruce Exploitation box set. That, in my opinion, was priced way too high. The only reason I bought that is because it was on like a holiday discount and I had a gift card.
You got it now though, forever.
So I have that. But yeah, so space is not too much of an issue. But when things are priced way too high, I will abstain.
I remember this video that I completely agree with. I know you got this little collector items back there, so you probably are familiar with it and like Legos. But there's these guys talking about whether or not Legos are overrated. The Escape podcast, which I really like the Escape podcast, just listening to them. And one of the guys was like, yes, because of the prices. He's like, the prices for Legos are just getting out of insane. I absolutely love them. There's no reason they should cost maybe $1,000 for a Lego set. I think he gave the illustration of, I think there was like an Encanto like house. It was like $200, and he's like, what are we doing here? No. I think I have like
no. I mean, as a Star Wars nerd, I do see all the like the Yodas and the Death Stars and the this and the that's.
Oh, did you see the Death Star that just came out that people are shitting on?
I have not.
Oh, so basically they announced that they were going to release a Death Star Lego set. So everyone expected it to be a big, huge ball, right?
Yeah.
But what it is it's like more of a sliver of the Death Star. So instead of being a ball, it's a circle. And you get like multiple layers of the Death Star, but everyone expected the thing to be massive, and it's just not. It's like this wide, and we're like, oh, okay. Well, that was disappointing.
Yeah, but I do see all the like all the different ones, and I see the prices on those, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. I'm okay. I don't need that in my life.
I'm gonna guess how much the Lego set is. It is. I'm gonna guess $500. I don't know.
$450.
$450. Where is it? The new one? Oh, they did have one like that. They just discontinued it. Oh yeah, people are selling it for $5,000. Well,
yeah, it's in Spider-Man No Way or Homecoming.
The actual ball of the Death Star Lego set.
Remember when Peter Parker comes into his bedroom and Ned's already there and he drops the Death Star because he's like, you're Spider-Man?
Oh yeah, it's been a long time since I've watched that.
My brain retains things it doesn't need to retain.
No, I mean that's good, but like podcasting, I mean that'd be really good for podcasting, especially with actors, directors, movies, stuff like that. Hey, subscribe now if you haven't.
Yeah. Something I really enjoyed watching this, it was more of a silly thing, was that some of their moves that they do have like anime names. Like in the first big fight scene against all the monks, I think it's Jet Li starts like swinging around a pole all the way around him, and he just yells out like total annihilation.
That's the move that he's doing?
That's what he said. And then one of the big move that Tinbo does is while Jet Li is holding up Michelle Yeoh on her like thing that she's being strung up on, he's holding it up and Tinbo jumps on top of it and like horse stances down on top, and he yells out 1,000-pound drop. And then he does it again later on in the movie.
I think they could have been a little bit more creative with the name of that, but maybe it is more creative in the
Could have
actual.
been the subtitles. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But you saying that reminded me of the fact that this felt very nostalgic to me for one reason in particular, because I did grow up with Power Rangers. So the fact that every single time anything moves in these movies, both movies, you always get a love it. Absolutely love it.
There is a low budget movie directed by one of my favorite directors, Isaac Florentine. This is like maybe his like second or third movie ever, called U.S. SEALs 2. And it has, I've never seen it. I've seen the final fight scene because the final fight scene is truly amazing. But even in that final fight, whenever it cuts to like someone talking or something, every single movement made has a whoosh, whoosh. I'm talking head movement. Whoosh, whoosh. Look over there. Whoosh. I'm love like, oh my God, this is a mess. Do you have any final thoughts or want to talk about any other fight scenes that happened within Tai Chi Master?
Tai Chi Master. How did Michelle Yeoh get the stilts attached to her legs?
That's what I was like. What? Because she's standing on like a table.
The table.
She's standing on a table, and the table breaks, and suddenly she's wearing stilts. Like she turned the legs of the table into stilts, and they're just somehow wrapped around her ankles.
She's good.
Like I saw it, and I questioned it for a second, and then I was like, I don't need to question it. It's fine. It's too good to question it.
Yeah. With the comedy, I will say I did. You mentioned the actor's name, Yun Chung Han,
something like that,
who plays Taoist the priestling, who is basically he's like the third member of their group.
Yeah, that's Yuan Wu Ping's brother.
Yes, he has some good comedy. I like that. I like it when he was playing dead. I thought he was very good at being funny, and I'm glad they kept him around for that because he doesn't necessarily have too many serious moments. But like just talking about like this movie being like wishing it was 3 hours longer. When Tinbo does like betray them, Jet Li's character's like, the blacksmith, no, this dude, no. I'm like, I don't know really who those guys are. Right. Just met them like 10 minutes ago, maybe 15 minutes ago. So, and I don't really feel like you know them as well.
We just needed bodies to drop.
Yeah. So I didn't get as emotional when the betraying happened, but I thought the betraying was awesome. And I like a pile of bodies. I think that
and that whole scene was I mean, that is pretty, the definition of epicness is that scene.
All those bodies together. I thought for a while there, I didn't know what they did with Michelle Yeoh because they didn't necessarily show her again. She was just trapped. I'm like, did they kill her? And then all of a sudden, I want to talk about that. You mentioned it though. When she's on that pillar, probably one of the coolest action scenes I've ever seen. Them climbing up that thing and using the logs against each other. Genius idea.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. That whole scene is great. What was that? I was just thinking about something. This is, I would think, rewatching this now, I've probably seen this 4 or 5 times. I've seen a lot of Yuen Wu-Ping. This is probably like possibly the definitive Yuen Wu-Ping film in my opinion.
Your favorite?
I'd have to look back through his filmography, but just from watching this again, off the top of my head, I'm like, yeah, no, this is probably the best. And he's done a lot of stuff more recently. He did the last 2 Ip Man films, and I think Ip Man 3 is phenomenal. I love Ip Man 3. But yeah, just off the top of my head, this is probably my favorite Yuen Wu-Ping film.
So it looks like Drunken Master, Iron Monkey, Snake in the Eagle Shadow. I'm just assuming that you've watched all these.
So he, so, and then that's another thing about like the Kung Fu comedy is like, oh, Jackie Chan Jackie Chan invented the Kung Fu comedy in Drunken Master. Well, Jackie Chan didn't actually direct Drunken Master. Yuen Wu-Ping did. So Yuen Wu-Ping, the reason you saw so much comedy in this is because Yuen Wu-Ping, just like Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung, he does love him some comedy.
He loves comedy. Yeah. I didn't realize, I'm looking at his filmography, I didn't realize that Ip Man is such a huge franchise that it also has spin-offs. Because it looks like
they're not. I mean, there's one spin-off. The rest of them are just cheap knockoffs.
Okay, maybe I'm just. Well, this says Master Z Ip Man Legacy.
That's a spin-off of
that's
the third
one
movie.
Spin-off.
So he did direct that one. That's the only movie that's actually a spin-off.
Okay, gotcha.
And it is great. I highly recommend it.
Okay, and Michelle Yeoh's in that too. Oh, that is Dave Bautista. I'm looking at this poster and I'm like, that kind of looks like Dave Bautista because he just has a mustache, which is really strange on Dave Bautista.
That's one thing I appreciate with him, and I truly believe he meant this, is Dave Bautista said in an interview many years ago, my goal as an actor is to become great, and in doing so, I plan to work with all of the greats. I plan to work with all of the greatest directors alive today. And the fact that he did a kung fu movie with Yuen Wu-Ping, in my mind, means he also he thought of him too and was like, this man is one of the greatest directors working today, and I want to work with him.
Yeah, he's got a very diverse, because he does have some shitty movies, but he has a very diverse filmography that really shows. I mean, M. Night Shyamalan, Denis Villeneuve, Bryan Johnson, and like the Knives Out movies and everything. Of course, James Gunn, but I mean, dude really wants to act, which I really appreciate that. Oh, he's also going to be in The Legend of Aang.
Yes, yeah, I think I heard that. Yeah.
And did you see that Steven Yeun's going to be the voice of Zuko? By the way.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I don't like that. That's going to be very strange. I'm not a fan, but
especially because Dante Basco is like 40-something years old, and he can do it just fine.
Dude, he has such a distinct voice that, and they even used him in Legend of Korra too. I think it was.
I even think that Steven Yeun sounds younger than Dante Basco.
Yeah. I think in Legend of Korra, I haven't watched it in a while, but I think in Legend of Korra they use Dante Basco again, which is a little bit strange, but just because his voice is so iconic, for Zuko's grandson, I believe, in that. But yeah, Steven Yeun's he is Invincible, so he's very familiar with voice acting. So I'm curious what his take is going to be on the character. I mean, are they going to replace all the voice actors?
I think so.
Interesting, very interesting.
But Yuen Wu-Ping, I'm looking at his filmography now, and as much as there are some amazing movies on here, and I really love some of the early stuff, one interesting thing with Yuen Wu-Ping looking at this filmography is you could make an argument that all of the greatest kung fu stars, at least of a certain generation, all of their best movies were directed by Yuen Wu-Ping. Like, looking at it, he has Jackie Chan, He has Drunken Master and Snake in the Eagle's Shadow. A lot of people would claim one of those two is their favorite Jackie Chan movie, directed by Yuen Woo-ping. The Magnificent Butcher, Sammo Hung, my goat. A lot of people would probably say The Magnificent Butcher is the best Sammo Hung film, and it's directed by Yuen Woo-ping. You've got some Yuen Biao movies on here. Yuen Woo-ping pretty much discovered Donnie Yen.
Really?
So a lot of the early Donnie Yen films, and one of them being Iron Monkey, which I think a lot of people would claim is their favorite Donnie Yen movie, is directed by Yuen Woo-ping.
Is that one of the first lead performances that Donnie Yen ever did?
His first lead, from the top of my head, is the 1985 film the one under that, actually. In 1984, he starred in Drunken Tai Chi, which was a Yuen Woo-ping film, and then 1985, Mismatched Couples.
Okay, so Woo-ping really found him even before the movie you just mentioned, Iron Monkey.
Which, if you want to see a very young Donnie Yen breakdancing, Mismatched Couples.
Okay, we'll do that. Which I'm not surprised that he's good at it with. I mean, how many martial arts and how flexible he can be. Would it be surprising if a lot of people who are good at martial arts are also good at dancing?
Yeah, and even like Jet Li was more discovered by Lau Ka Lung in the early 80s, but I think a lot of people would probably say his best work was done with Yuen Woo-ping, whether it's Tai Chi Master or Yuen Woo-ping didn't direct it, but he was the action director and fight choreographer on Once Upon a Time in China, as well as Fist of Legend. So a lot of people would say that those are some of Jet Li's best movies, and they're very clear influence of Yuen Woo-ping. So that just really shows how important this dude is to the genre and to the careers of some of the very best people to ever do it.
Dude, I'm excited to watch more movies.
They're great.
Just you saying this and how much I enjoyed these two.
Well, did you have any final thoughts to wrap up on Tai Chi Master? I'll say one thing. Jet Li, they start calling him Leung Samfeng, and that is the name of the guy who is regarded to have possibly invented Tai Chi and the whole philosophy around it. So that's pretty fun.
So this is kind of as an origin story for that guy. It's like a myth, like a legend.
It's kind of like mythology.
Like this was him. Interesting. That's cool, especially for people who probably practice Tai Chi. I thought they would probably think that was really sick, unless they were like purists and they're like, "This is ridiculous." I don't know.
Well, from what I saw, is like he's like the main guy that people believe, but then some people are like, "Actually, we found like someone like 1,000 years before him."
Jeez.
So, history buffs.
Well, you can do a movie for that guy too.
You make a movie for that guy. I don't know who he is, but someone make a movie for that guy.
No, but I thought.
What were you gonna say?
I thought this movie was great. Like I said, I wish it was 3 hours long. I guess it's a good thing it's not 3 hours long, because I don't know if I would have watched it in time, because I watched both of these movies today. Told you I perfectly lined up Martial Club to end as soon as I was supposed to get on this podcast. So yeah, a little bit longer. I would have preferred like a sequel. Look at my 2025 brain. But I thought all the characters were great. I thought nobody was expendable, or everyone was expendable, which really adds to the weights and the entertainment of the movie personally for me. But yeah, this was my just a little bit better than Martial Club for me.
How did you feel about the army at the end, just like letting Jet Li go?
I don't know, because that
both of their heads, both of their leaders died, and they're just like, I mean, one of them we hated anyway, so yeah, y'all are free to go.
That's a good question, because I also think that would have benefited from the movie being longer. Maybe we could have had some of those dudes being fleshed out just a little bit as into why they're actually fighting in the first place. So maybe that resolution at the very end would make a little bit more sense than them just being like, yeah, you guys are good to go, I guess. We don't have anybody.
I mean, they're kind of convinced. Like Michelle Yeoh tells them, "You just watched this guy kill your leader. What makes you think he's not going to kill you next?" And then some of them are just like, "She got a point."
Yeah, but then nobody takes charge, and they're just like, "Wait, what are they going to do? They're just going to wander around now that everyone's."
Someone's going to have to fill out some paperwork.
I guess. I don't know, but yeah, I thought that was a little bit strange that they're just like, yeah, I guess so. Well, Michelle Yeoh's thing makes sense, but then, yeah, it just a little bit more fleshed out when it comes to the army. I thought the amount of extras that they have for this movie was great, though. Like when the very first scene where you see that huge army, there's so many people, and I just love it because in my 2025 brain, I'm like, those people would be CGI nowadays. So it's just so cool that so many people creative people who are behind a singular project is just something to applaud, in my opinion.
No, and again, looking through his filmography, as much as there are some absolutely legendary, amazing movies in there, rewatching this might be my very favorite Yuen Wu-Ping film. I truly believe this might be the perfect embodiment of a Yuen Wu-Ping movie, and then Martial Club is probably the perfect embodiment of a Lau Kar-Leung movie. It's not my favorite Lau Kar-Leung movie, but in terms of like what could represent a Lau Kar-Leung film, it's probably the perfect one to represent what is his version of Kung Fu.
Well, I'm excited to check out the other ones. I think I'm probably going to check out Iron Monkey first.
Hell yeah. That one you will see, that's the one you'll see Donnie Yen play Wong Fei Hung, who was the character of Gordon Liu in the last movie. You'll see Donnie Yen play his father, and the child who plays Wong Fei Hung, if you watch it, fun fact with that one, the kid playing Wong Fei Hung is actually a little girl.
Interesting, but that you don't know that in the movie.
Tell. No, you just can't really tell.
I would say this is not the movie that he breakdances in, right, Donnie Yen?
No. It's a great movie, though.
Okay.
Well, let's wrap this up with some final questions I have for you here. Question number 1, do you have any takeaways from this deep dive into Kung Fu?
Is that all Kung Fu, martial arts, is not the same? Not only because of, obviously, the different techniques that are used and the practices that are used and the beliefs that are behind all of it, but also the directors and the filmmakers, just how they stage things and their action and the actors and their set pieces, everything like that. Even if you do have 2 movies that could have the same type of martial arts in them, the filmmakers and the writers and the actors make them completely different. So that's exciting for the future of my movie watching.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the most popular styles we've seen in the last decade and a half, 2 decades, is Wing Chun. And whether it's a Sammo Hung film from the early 80s doing Wing Chun, whether it's Wing Chun the movie, which stars Michelle Yeoh and is directed by Yuen Wu-Ping, or jumping into Ip Man in 2008, like, they're all a very different presentation. Extremely different. So another question here. Having seen films from 2 of the best Kung Fu directors and fight choreographers to ever do it, did you come out of this with any kind of preference?
Oof. Yeah, I think I've mentioned it multiple times, but I still do like the style that we see in Tai Chi Master a little bit better. I just like, I guess I'm a waterbender guy. I don't know, but I do.
That's fine.
I do like using props, using the redirecting of force to defeat your enemy that they do a lot in Tai Chi Master. So with Martial Club, it's a lot of like redirecting punches. That's a lot of what it is.
Just about every Kung Fu fan is going to have a preference. Like, you noticing that everyone has a different version of what a Kung Fu movie can be. For a long time, my preference, like even with Shaw Brothers, like when you think of Shaw Brothers, there's 2 directors that come to mind, and it's Chang Che and it's Lau Kar-Leung. And for me, I always believed I'm a Lau Kar-Leung guy. But then looking back, I'll look back at some Chang Che movies, and I'm like, but that's a good one, and that's a good one, and that's a good one, and that's a good one.
Are you just judging the quality of the movie itself as a whole, or are you specifically looking at the martial arts in it?
All of it.
All of it.
All of it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, everyone's got some preferences. Number 3 question: how likely are you to dive further into the genre?
Oh, well, yeah. Sorry I gave away most of your questions during our discussion.
No, you're good. That's fine.
Spoiler alert for everyone. Very likely. I will say there's a lot of, I mean, you've been mentioning a lot of movies on the pod. I mean, I've saved probably tons to my watch list as I'm going through Letterboxd as we're talking. So there's tons on the watch list that I'm prepared to watch, excited to watch. Unfortunately, I'm in this deep hole right now where I decided to watch all of the DreamWorks films. So one day I will get out of that dark hole that I'm about to go in, because I'm getting to some really shitty ones, and I will check out more Kung Fu movies.
I mean, DreamWorks has some Kung Fu movies in there. You got the Kung Fu Panda movies.
Well, I will say, I just got done with the Penguins of Madagascar, and they're
I think they do. I do remember a little bit of them doing some stuff.
Yeah, they knock out some guys here and there.
Number 4, do you have any questions leading into your Kung Fu journey?
Yeah, there is. You've been speaking about some brothers, I think, like when it comes to people behind movies. I think
the Shaw Brothers. I think.
Who is that?
Shaw Brothers. There are 2 brothers, Run Shaw and Run Mi Shaw. Shaw Brothers is a studio.
Oh, okay.
I've got like a box set right here. Shawscope.
Oh, okay.
It's a studio.
It's like Warner
And-
Brothers. It looks like Warner Brothers.
Yes.
It popped up at the beginning of Marshall Club.
Yes, that is the studio behind Marshall Club. They were really running big from about the 1950s to the mid 80s, late 80s. It's a little bit slightly into the early 90s. They were just kind of the premier movie studio, not even kung fu studio, but like movies, just anything. They made any genre they wanted to, romance, comedies, all of it. They had a gigantic lot full of buildings where people learned how to sing, learned how to dance, learned how to fight, learned how to act. They would house people. They signed people to contracts of like, you stay here, you work for us, you act for us, you do our movies, blah, blah, blah. They were just a powerhouse studio in Hong Kong for like half a century.
Got you. So I believe Tai Chi Master. So the comparison would be Toho. Like Toho's another,
Something like that, yeah.
like a production company. Okay, but that's from. I think Toho popped up at the beginning of Tai Chi Master, if I'm not mistaken.
I know the one at the beginning of Tai Chi Master. This is a Eastern production, I believe. I thought it was a Golden Harvest, but it is not a Golden Harvest from what I saw at the beginning. I think it's just Eastern production.
Why did I see Toho? Why do I remember that? Maybe it's because I just watched Shin Godzilla, and I'm just thinking about that.
Probably that. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
very similar to that. Warner Brothers, Toho, Paramount,
Brothers.
Universal.
Okay.
You know,
It
it's
is a
just a
production
studio. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
My final question for you here today. Did you have fun?
I did, very much so.
Hell yeah.
It was the moment where I saw Michelle Yeoh for the first time, and I'm like, yes, this was a good idea. But
What was your experience with Michelle Yeoh before that? Just Everything Everywhere All at Once?
I mean, let me see. I mean, unfortunately, like I have it back here.
Shang-Chi,
I have Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon back here,
Crouching Tiger.
and I have not. I'm hesitant to watch it because I didn't know this. I got an English dub version,
That's not bad.
but so I put it.
I'll tell you this. You know who the action director is on that movie?
Yeah, I know you know.
Yuan Wu-Ping.
Oh, really? So I'm excited to watch that. I do have that on physical. There's so many physical media stuff that I haven't watched yet, especially my VHS movies back there. But my experience with Michelle Yeoh, I mean, I watched a movie called, what was it called? Tai Chi Master with her in it. So yes, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I also do have on physical. But then, I don't know, crazy pull that I can do right here. Hold on, where's it at? Not a pull. I mean, I have Wicked.
I'll
A little
tell you
bit
this,
different than what
just
people
to,
know Michelle Yeoh for.
Just so you don't feel bad about the amount of movies you have that you haven't seen yet, is this jar right here, which is my Carnage jar,
Carnage.
is full of tiny pieces of paper with movie titles on them. And every now and again, I will dig in here and pick out a movie, and I'm like, oh, I'm watching that today. And even though I'm going to have to clean this up,
Dude, why'd you?
it's a lot of movies. It's a lot of movies. I'm going to have to watch all those movies.
I appreciate you doing that for me. That was dramatic.
I just thought it would be a fun gag.
No.
You probably couldn't see it here, but the camera here could see it.
Well, I saw a little bit of it, I will say.
It was a lot.
Michelle is
So
such a diverse
don't feel bad about having all
filmography,
those
though.
things.
I'm just looking at it. She's been in so like, I don't know if she is the like Asian actress who's had the most. I mean, the Chinese actress. I mean, with probably her and then like Jackie Chan, I guess, when it comes to.
I
male
made
side,
a video that was probably my video about Everything Everywhere All at Once that pretty much just proclaimed that she is the success of Hong Kong. It's not Jackie. It's not Chow Yun-fat. It's not Yuan Wu-Ping. It's not John Woo. It's not anybody else. It's not my goat Sammo Hung. It is Michelle Yeoh.
Got an Oscar, man. She got that Oscar.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Stone, where can people find you at?
Oh, well, if people are interested after our discussion, if you are Kung Fu fans, I'll get out of DreamWorks eventually, so you will see me reviewing Kung Fu movies one day. But Stone Medical Movie Man is my tagline because I worked in the medical field until I quit to do this full time, which has been a nice gander so far. And I think it was the right decision. But yeah, Medical Movie Man is where you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube if you're curious about looking me up. I mostly talk about fandom stuff, which somebody messaged me about that, and they were really they're very encouraging. They said, hey man, I want to do stuff like that. They were stuck in horror. I'm like, do it. I talk about stuff that interests me, which is a lot of animation. I'm a fanboy. I like Stranger Things. I mean, I'm not as big on the superhero stuff as a lot of people are, First of all, I don't think I'm very knowledgeable about it because there's like a million comics that go into every single one. But I like Jurassic Park and stuff like that. So, but animation's my big wheelhouse. I've been thinking about mainly might focusing like your martial arts knowledge. I would love that for me when it comes to animation. So we'll see. I might work on that in the future. I'm not an artist though, so I feel like that's a big part of that.
I have a question for you coming from the medical field, and it's just a fun one. Do you ever see people giving CPR in a movie and you're like, fucking amateurs?
Yes. I just watched Alien Earth, as I already spoke about on this podcast. And there's a character who's supposed to be a medic. And personally, for me, if a guy was a medic, there is a scene where he has a fridge that he comes across a man who has a fridge that's fallen on top of him. And in order to see if he's alive, he like picks up his shoulders and shakes him like, hey, man, I think that you would just, this isn't necessarily CPR, but I would think just simple like check his pulse. You don't have to just shake the guy. So I do get a little bit technical when it comes to that stuff. CPR, I'm trying to think of movies that I've seen CPR in. I mean, I've unfortunately done CPR a whole lot, which I actually find it very fascinating when like CPR cases happen because there's like 15 people that come into the room and they're all at the same time working together. And I find it very fascinating just sitting there and watching it. But not that's the most recent example of like the medical field that comes to mind for me. But no CPR. I don't know if I can't think of any movie where someone just dies, then they actually get CPR. People die in these movies, but
Interesting with the checking vitals thing. I just watched Sketch last week.
oh,
And in that movie there is a fun scene with like the school bus crashes and one of the kids checks on the bus driver and is like, I'm gonna see if she has a pulse. And he does it on the wrist, but there's like a fun line where he's like, is it one finger or two? So it's interesting if you point out.
Good. I was surprised at how good that movie was. I like Tony Hale a lot, so I like that he was the star of it.
I just like you pointing out movies where adults are bad with that, and then that movie's like, the kid got it, the kid figured it out.
Yeah, especially when your character's supposed to be a medic. I just don't think maybe he did it afterwards and we just didn't see it. But him shaking shoulders, I'm like, what are we doing here?
I brought that up. I asked that question because I remember I watched a movie called Broken Path, aka Attack of the Yakuza, which is a very low budget American martial arts film that does star two former Power Ranger actors. It's an amazing action movie. The fight scenes in that movie are phenomenal. And there's a scene where someone's giving CPR, and I was watching it with my mom, and my mom's a nurse, and like she's like not getting anywhere with those weak palpitations.
Yeah.
And then he eventually he gets angry because he's like losing her, and he just like slams down in her chest.
Movie thing.
But my mom just goes, "There you go."
You do have to be really hard with it because it's important to. Well, something that's interesting if you really want to know, because I worked in two different hospitals and their CPR, well, their AED machine, which is automatic. I don't actually know what it means, but basically it's the thing that shocks them back to life. Something that's cool that those do now is you can actually put the pad on the front of their chest and one pad in the front of their chest, in the middle of their chest, and then one pad on their back. But what's cool is that the machines now, you do the compressions on the pad and the machines can read whether or not you're going too deep. Like you need to go deep enough to make sure you're basically pumping their heart and making sure that blood is flowing throughout their body. So it'll tell you like, go faster, go deeper, like come up more. So that's cool. When in my other hospital, my previous hospital, like a few years ago, it was just the person who was used to those emergencies. They're called a rapid response team. And they were just like, good job, man. I'm like, thanks. So technology is a blessing when it comes to that stuff. But that's something that makes CPR just a little bit easier nowadays.
And what was the social again one more time?
Medical Movie Man. It is Stone, which is my
Medical
name,
Movie
my
Man.
real name, if anybody's wondering. Stone, but the @ is Medical Movie Man, I think, throughout everything. And I'm no longer in the medical field, and I don't know that much about it. So if you have questions about it, I do know about CPR, done that a lot. I will say one thing that's also disappointing too. I know it's a little tangent here at the very end, but I only worked really on the oncology floor. So saw a lot of death. But when it comes to medical shows, a lot of times they take place in the ER. And I've never worked in the ER before because that's like the exciting. I'm like, oh, arm's gone. Dude stepped on a fork. Like, it was just like, this person's been sick for a while. It's like, that's not as entertaining for people when it comes to movies and TV shows.
I have a memory of my mother, who she got into nursing a little bit later in life, and I was a teenager, and she gets home from a night shift, and she knocks on my door, opens it a little bit, and she really excitedly just goes, "Somebody came in and their guts fell on the floor and I had to pick them up."
Is she an ER nurse?
I don't know what she's doing right now, but that's what I guess she was doing that at the time.
Okay.
But she was really excited to tell me about that.
I will say,
She had like a massive smile on her face. Was like, there was blood everywhere.
that is something I'm amazed with. I never got grossed out by stuff. I'm squeamish with stuff on my own body, but when it comes to other people's bodies, I could do it. But we had a similar situation on the oncology floor, which shouldn't happen, where someone had surgery and they had like basically they sutured him up, and I guess they were just coughing so hard that the sutures like opened up. And a nurse said she walked in and she just saw like the innards on the outside, which is wild to see on an oncology floor. And I wish that I had seen it, but she was just like, I can only imagine like, and it makes sense if your mom was an ER nurse to be like, oh, okay. Not makes sense, but I feel like you'd be more susceptible to it. But when it comes to oncology where that's not supposed to happen, I would be like, oh, whoa, that's wild. So.
Yeah, she got really excited about that. But please track down my guest at the socials there. I will leave all the links necessary down in the description down below, along with a few of my links. As well as don't forget to head over on the YouTube over to Goodwill Podcasting, where they love talking about some great movies. And I've been over there once or twice as well, and hopefully I'll get on there again soon. Of course, you can find me over at Martial Arts Film Freak on Instagram. There's, of course, the Facebook page, and, of course, TikTok, where I try to have some fun over there. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the show. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Don't forget to comment your thoughts on the movies we talked about today down in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode, and if this was your first time on the channel, well, I welcome you to Kung Fu.